My name is Louise Anderson. I later became a Budge, and after that, a Jensen. And this is my journey. I was born in Logan, Utah on May 3rd, 1936, the first child of John Adolph Anderson and Ruth Hanson Anderson. The little house that Mom and Dad lived in when I was born is down by the old 12th Ward Church House at 3 Point Avenue, and it's still in existence today. And they moved finally to the home on 461 South 2nd West, which was Ruth's grandmother's home. They bought it from Grandma and Grandpa Hanson, and there we lived the rest of our lives. And we lived in the old family home until I was about in the 6th grade, and then we tore off the 2 front rooms and built the home that exists there today, the brick home that's there today. This is me when I was 5 years old, and I began wearing glasses at that age, and I was looking at this picture. I don't remember the picture being taken, but these pictures, glasses that I have on, are exactly like the frames that we have today. My teacher, Mrs. Emmett, had us in our class learn to square dance. Got really, really good at it. We were able to go around the community and do square dancing. This is the pioneer costume that Mom made for me so that I could look like a pioneer and help celebrate with the church. And that was really a fun time. Like all children, you have to taste everything, so I did that, and I swallowed a nickel, and it got lodged in my throat. And I can remember standing between the door frame and the window by the back door, trying to throw up that coin, and I couldn't breathe it. I could hardly breathe in, but I couldn't get rid of it. I was rushed to the hospital, and Mom told me that I could have that nickel and buy me an ice cream cone, but Dr. Battles kept it. He said he was keeping all the coins that he'd taken out of children's mouth. Now I think that was just a tall tale, but anyway, I did not get the nickel. And then Uncle Bob came and took this picture that appeared in the Salt Lake Tribune, or in the newspaper, about a 5-year-old child gulping a nickel, and it showed me with the nickel in my hand. I was like, I'm holding a nickel. So I was famous at 5. I graduated from Logan High School in 1954, and this is my graduation picture. And underneath this hat was my Mamie Eisenhower bangs that every girl in Logan High had. Was this little row of bangs, and Mamie Eisenhower was President Dwight Eisenhower's wife. And these are the Mamie Eisenhower bangs.
They're kind of high.
Yes, definitely. You got the whole view there.
That's funny. I started out at Utah State University. I was able to get a job with the Mountain States Telephone and Telegraph Company. And the lady that was the chief operator was Lily Sorensen, and she was a good friend of Mother's. And that was in the old Number Please office, if you can recall. You're too young to remember that. And it was the old building there on Center and Main, about in Logan, right next to the grill, the big tall one on just to the east, between there and the mortuary. And I worked there for 5 years. Would be working, and you would say number please, and you could hear this screeching little noise in your ear, and no one was there, and so pretty soon someone would answer and say, oh, I'm just dusting my phone, sorry. And it was interesting because where I would sit at one position, I had access to every telephone number in Logan. I knew all of these kids and young people and boys, and so you knew who they called for dates and when they called And so it was kind of an interesting, fun job. I met Dad through Lorna Andrews on a blind date. She called and she had this guy that was just home from the service, and would I go with him? What did I like about him? Well, yeah, but I just felt comfortable around him, and I thought he was nice looking, and I, was naive and stupid, and all that stuff.
You're young and
Yeah, young, and that he was popular, and you were dating one of the popular boys at school, and that was kind of interesting.
For my darling, I love you, and I always will.
This is my home now, and I've lived on the ranch for about 20 years, and I have really thoroughly enjoyed it out here. It was a completely different way of life. I love the out of doors, and we've lived here by the pond. Been able to enjoy the birds and the animals that live in the pond. We watch the birds a lot, and we have a lot that come that are different varieties, and we feed them very well, and they're just fun to watch. These are our chickens. Bless their hearts, they lay eggs every day. They talk and visit, and they're pretty good.
And do you get all the neighbors' eggs?
Oh, we give neighbors eggs all the time. We eat plenty of eggs. I've always enjoyed gardening, and this is part of our garden here, and this is the lettuce this year. We're getting that started, and the veggies are coming, and we've got squash, and what else do I do with it? I have to spend the whole summer trying to find people to use it up. And so I become a good customer of the food bank. This is my trophy fish from Henry's Lake in 2005. And we were fishing on the reservoir there, and I was using my fly rod, and I had a showgirl fly on. And the guys that were fishing around us were teasing us because they said, "That's how you fish when you go to Strawberry Reservoir." And a few minutes later I had this big fish on, and they all stopped and watched, and I finally got it subdued and into the boat. I've had a very full life. I've been a lot of places. I've enjoyed doing what I've done, and I've had a lot of good work experience, and I worked for the hospital for 25 years. I've got lots of wonderful memories and good friends that I still see, and I spend my time quilting and working in the garden. I crochet a lot. I read. I've been enjoying reading, and I enjoy my church meetings, and I'm grateful that I have the health and strength that I have, and it's been a blessing in my life. And, well, one of the things that I've learned is the importance of family. But it's been a good life, and I'm very proud of my children. I love them dearly. I want them to know that I love my Savior, and I know that He atones for my sins and the things in my life that I've needed to change. Hopefully I've been able to do that as I've grown older and enjoyed the blessings that come from living the gospel, and knowing that there's hope for a brighter future, and obey the laws, and live the commandments that we've been given, and that I know my Savior is there for me. I have a testimony of the gospel. I know it's true, and I'm grateful for it. And it's been a constant strength to me in my life. And I just pray that each day I can live worthy of the blessings that I receive. That's about it.
Sunday afternoons, Mom would count that as some relaxing time, and she used to always load the car up and take the kids over to Bear Lake. And we'd go over to the north shore of Bear Lake and just have some fun with the family. We didn't have a boat, we didn't have a lot of things, but we were able to go over there and just hang out and be with the family. I remember we'd always picnic in the canyon on the way home as well.
I think of her being kind and charitable. I think she does anything for anyone. I also think of her when I was younger and still now, and she's really fun and creative. All of the fun things she did for us when we were kids. Gingerbread houses, she would do all these crazy things. When I was in the Army, she sent me taco gum, and she sent me Avon earrings, and the drill sergeant says, "Where does she think you are?" And I said, "That's my mom."
Things that I remember about growing up in Mom's home was that she was always busy. From sun up to sundown, she would work. Whether it was in the garden, in the home, laundry, going to work at the hospital, service projects or kids' activities. She was always busy doing something. And I think that that's a trait that she passed on to all of her children. We don't sit idle very long. We usually have things going on. And I appreciate that.
What I remember a lot about my mother that still sticks into my mind today is how great of a cook she was. There was not a day that went by or an evening where we didn't have these unbelievable meals, breakfast and dinners. And I don't know a lot of people that grew up eating that great of food for every meal. And I always remember the fact that she always had a complete meal too. She always had vegetable, fruit, meat, salad, and no matter what resources she had, she seemed to always pull it off, and resources as far as time and money and the whole thing. And so as a result of that, I love to cook and I love a great meal. And to this day, when I go to her home, her meals, I look forward to sitting down at her table and eating just a great home-cooked meal. And so that's what I remember a lot about growing up and my mother's cooking.
So at the holidays, Mom always wraps her presents just in beautiful wrapping paper and shiny ribbon, and she never seems to forget a holiday. Even Valentine's, Easter, we always made Easter egg cupcakes with the green decorative frosting and eggs on top, and it was just a tradition that my mom really enjoyed doing for the holidays.
Mom has a work ethic that is unsurpassed by anyone. When things were rough around the house financially, she wasn't afraid to go out and get a second job and work to make ends meet. And as a kid, that always stuck out as a great example to me. My mother was such a hard worker. One of the jobs that she had that she, I'm sure, didn't want to do, but I think she found some enjoyment in it and always talked about how much she enjoyed it, was working at Utah State University. She worked at all the football games and all the basketball games. She never missed one, and she always said what a fun job that was, but it could have been easy for her not to like it and just have a bad attitude about it, but she had a positive attitude, and she's such a hard worker. She's an amazing example of what it means to be a sole breadwinner and also the spiritual, physical, and emotional provider for our family.
Mom used to always like to go to First Dam and watch the lightning storms that came across Cache Valley when they were really severe, and that was one of our fun things to do at the rest stop at the mouth of Logan Canyon. She also liked to go feed the ducks up at Logan Canyon at First Dam. She'd take my dad when he was ill and my two small children, 2 and 3 years old, and we'd go. That was always something she really enjoyed.
Many times in my life when things have been difficult and I've had challenges in life, Mom will call, and I think it shows a sensitivity that she has to her children. She knows when things are hard for us, and she'll call and just give you a word of encouragement that everything will be okay. And she knows. She's been through a lot of things.